Hello everybody, and welcome to Peace of My Mind by American Geordies. A little bit of a quieter episode today, and a lot of the news we're going to cover is probably going to be 2 weeks old because I am covering, I'm recording this today after I recorded episode 1, which you probably saw 2 weeks ago now. Oh, how'd you get in here? Okay, cool. He left. Let me see if I could start us off with a good news article. Leo DiCaprio misses award show due to U.S. military operation in Venezuela. That's a headline. Leonardo DiCaprio was unable to attend an award show in California due to travel disruptions caused by U.S. military operation in Venezuela. So did they take over the airport? U.S. Foreign President Nicolas Maduro and his wife leading to airspace restrictions and flight cancellations in the region. How did that happen? He was supposed to receive an award for his performance in the film One Battle After Another at the Palm Springs International Film Festival Awards Gala. So let's go find a deeper article. Oh, blocked in the Caribbean. This is not in English. Mixed factuality, high factuality. Let's see what this right-leaning one says. Palm Springs International Airport announced departing flights under ground stop due to FAA air traffic control issues. Leonardo DiCaprio accepted the Palm Desert Achievement Award remotely on Saturday due to travel restrictions resulting from the U.S. strikes in Venezuela. DiCaprio was set to accept the award at Palm Springs International Film Festival for his role in One Battle or Another. Alright, I'm not the world's biggest movie buff, but there's no way the military would have known or cared about this going on. But I still stand that we probably shouldn't have messed with Venezuela. I've been hearing arguments that sound a lot like, oh, they were supplying oil to China and Russia. It's a strategic action that we took out their oil reserves. First of all, we had access to their oil up until we put an embargo on them in 2019. So we could have just had their oil. But also, we're not at war with China or Russia at the moment. So who cares? Are you saying that we should start a war? That the president who campaigned on peace is messing with Russia and China on purpose? Antagonizing world powers? There's just no good argument there. Now, bear with me. Have an idea for my roof here. I'm thinking... yeah, that needs to be there. Need more of that. I'm gonna build a roofed balcony there. And we're gonna turn the stone half of the base into something more like a tower. And without adding boom. Yeah. Just like this time, just access. Well, wait a minute. What do I actually want to do here? Yeah, that'll work. That'll be fine. Do I still have stairs? Just so I can map this out. how that looks from up front. Yeah, that's alright. Certified just alright. We can make things look pretty later. Yeah. We're gonna get upstairs just a sec. Yeah. That looks as good as I need it to be. Okay, so let's map out the rest of the... because obviously this is another 2 over, which means that the midpoint between here and there is going to be 1 more over, if I'm mathing that out correctly. Which means it's going to be 1 up, and... yeah. Do I have dirt? And then up to here is where the tower half of the base starts, so I'm not too concerned about a wood roof after that. Right here. So I went over too far by 1. I'm gonna go get... I didn't reharvest my saplings. That is an L for me. They still out there? So I'm looking at this other article now. Mondami reviving. Mondami got sworn in July 1st to President of New York. And he's seems like he's reviving something that was bribed out of completion. McGinnis Boulevard at Father Studzinski Square. Now, I'm not New Yorker. I don't know any of those places or words or what they mean. But I was reading this article. It sounds like it was a bike lane, parking lane project that was shut down by Ingrid Lewis Martin. Accepted more than 10,000 in catering at Gracie Mansion, arranged by Tony and Gina Argentino, leading to the Adams administration to scale back the project. Let's see who Tony and Gina Argentino are. Argento. We're going to do it using Ground News. Okay, so that's not revealing anything. So let's see if Google brings up anything that's safe for you guys to see. Because what vested interest do they have? Theater production family. What stake in that claim do they even have? Let me sit here, wait for saplings. So 2 members of a powerful Brooklyn theater production family bribed Mayor Adams' chief advisor in a successful pay-to-play effort to block a safety redesign of McGinnis Boulevard after city transportation officials had declared it a crucial life-saving project, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg said on Thursday. Gina and Tony Argento were charged by Bragg with bribery for their part in a conspiracy to give the mayor's top aide, Ingrid Lewis Martin, a monetary payment and other benefits, including a speaking role in television production and catering service for an event at Gracie Mansion. Court papers show the corruption was almost trifling in terms of how monetary value. A single bribe of $2,500, a single cameo on a TV show, and catering service of roughly $10,000. For this, the Argentos are facing 11 years in prison the conspiracy and bribery charges under New York State sentencing guidelines. But why do they care? What does this theater family have to do with public transportation? Let's see. Was there theater located on it? Are they going to have to bulldoze the theater to make a bike lane? That would be important news. If so, that would make its way to an article, wouldn't it? Here. This one says high factuality, so let's check it out. Now on Saturday, the city will complete formally planned redesign of McGinnis Boulevard in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, giving it a driving lane, a parking protected bike lane, and a vehicular parking and loading lane in each direction. Several pedestrian deaths prompted the city to propose a redesign in May 2023. So there is a reason to do this. Okay, it sounds great. What did this theater family have to do with this? Let's see if we can look that up. Why did the Argentos bribe? Sure. To weaken the safety project that threatened their business interests, particularly a new hotel development, by the project's delays and their financial gain. Well, that's the Google AI answer. Sibling duo who own Greenpoint Production Company, Broadway Stages. Oh, so they're on Broadway. Allegedly bribed one of Marriott's top aides and affect this. I should be like that so I can get drops. Push DOT's approved bike lane. The siblings turned themselves in at the Manhattan DA's office Thursday morning, along with Lewis Martin and several other defendants of other bribery schemes. Lewis Martin wasn't. The siblings are opposed to remove vehicle traffic lanes. Plan to remove vehicle traffic lanes. Hey, shut up. Which runs past Broadway stages. Opposed to remove vehicle traffic lanes, which ran past Broadway stages. So, and here's something. They were no longer to get vehicle traffic past their business, which is a way that you get attention to your business. I still didn't hear anything about that hotel that was mentioned by Google AI. You know what? I need to do this. Not that. This. Not that. That. And I need another one. Bada bing, bada boom. $15 years in prison, respectively, if convicted. Something like 200 businesses who were opposed to the redesign, but many were tied directly to Broadway stages. Tina did need nothing but exercise their First Amendment. That's a lie. They feel like to be thrown out in chalk from Gina as a donation. Well, that was also a lie. So just because their businesses does donations doesn't mean that they're automatically good people with good intentions. There is a reason that we made tax exemptions for donations, because otherwise rich people would not do that. Hey, this one released on my birthday this year. Shut up. Street design project. Death of a local teacher. Torn down by the Adams administration last summer. That was also mentioned. This is a pretty big avenue for vehicular accidents, it seems. Which, if it's a theater district with a lot of people walking, that makes sense. This is also about public transit. Selling out safety for political favors is an insult to every New Yorker, and a slap in the face to every bus rider trapped in traffic, cyclist forced into an unsafe street, or child trying to dodge trucks just across the street. So I'm not getting the full story, and I can tell that, but I agree with at least that sentiment. That, I mean, kind of predictable to hold back a city's infrastructure just because your business would not benefit from it. Rich people play by the same playbook over and over again. And that's because they do not care about their communities the way the average person does. Well, speaking of which, with Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro was a dictator. But their country was successful and on its way to wealth, I should say, until we put an embargo on it in 2019, which was still under Trump's presidency, which is something you should note about the words coming out of my mouth right now. Which is very similar to the way that we made red line districts from the 30s to the 60s before we outlawed redlining. Which, if you don't know, redlining is, hey, this entire area of this map is not likely to have any investment value, long-term investment value. So what we're going to do is scare all the white people out of this neighborhood so that we can get white people buying our more expensive properties and make a quick dollar. And what happened was a bunch of not white people got left behind in these red line districts. They were almost directly used as a tool to scare the white people out of these red line districts. And then they didn't develop any of the infrastructure. And then they turned around and blamed these not white people for, you know, the things that were definitely not their fault. It's like, if you cared about your community more, you would have same public housing and all that. But the thing is that they didn't own their homes, so they didn't get the same votes on the city councils. And they're didn't have as much say. So, yeah. Maduro might have been a dictator. But Venezuela being a shithole of a country is still our fault in the long run. And up until, I forget the name of the guy before Maduro, but he died in 2013. They were on their way to being a semi-socialist country. Which makes you wonder a couple things about our involvement. In fact, I wonder if I can find any recent news linking the embargo in 2019 to the current actions. I'll do that. Uh, 2019. 2019 oil embargo. There we go. So, export parallels. Venezuela's oil dilemma amid political crisis. Venezuela's state-owned oil giant PDVSA is pushing some of its joint ventures into curtail crude output, sources revealed on Saturday. This decision comes amidst a paralysis in exports, adding pressures on the interim government struggling to uphold power. And forced the shutdown of oil fields due to an excess of stored crude and a shortage of needed diluents for the blending. So these are all from today. This has nothing to do with the 2019 embargo. Interesting, though, that the interim government is struggling too much to figure out how to sell its oil. They're setting something up. We can check this one out. This seems interesting. It's also nighttime. U.S. to work with current Venezuelan leaders to make the right decision. The right decision is keeping our noses out of it. If our true goal, which we all know it wasn't, because the president bragged about it not being this, but if the true goal really was to take the dictator out of power, we would have stopped there. I still have the glass on me. Let's take that. You need some torches. And you need a door. Bop, bop. Yeah. That's cute. I like that. A little bit of framing. Let's see how that looks from outside. Okay. We can deal. We can deal. Ooh, I want clay for something. Do I still have my iron shovel? Not you, not you. Clay. Gonna smelt some cobblestone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it should be good enough. Yeah, I'm gonna smelt some bricks. Yeah. I know the modern brick design is not good, so that's why we're also gonna be making some stone bricks. Just bear with me. Also, it might be time to go start excavating the tree farm. I also need to focus on that farm too. Hey, iron. Neat little cave system too. Well, I'm gonna time lapse and I'll be back once I've probably broken the iron pick. So, see you in a minute. So, the quote from Rubio that I'm looking at right now: the U.S. would influence Venezuela through policy, framing the operation as law enforcement, yada yada yada. If they don't make the right decision, the United States will retain multiple levels of leverage. Which basically means if they don't do what we say, we're doing everything for them. Which is not how a proper democracy works. If that was our goal, to give them that and free them of their dictatorship, the goal should be like, hey, we saved your ass, and lift the embargo, one, and then two, let them make their own decisions. And they've been punished before for having a dictator, so they should know not to do it again. I know that's wishful thinking. That sounds like wishful thinking coming out of my head. But as we all know, because Mr. Trump got on the internet and bragged about it already, this whole thing is about oil. So the right decision is giving us their oil. That's what they want from this. He hopes to bring American and international oil companies to reshape. Oh, so we're going to make it worse for them. Because they had state-owned oil up until now. Now we're going to give them our public oil. Oil, like a lot of energy companies, quote-unquote, any energy services, should be not privatized. Or the, yeah, you know what I mean. Our oil is privatized. It is owned by people who make profit and will make shitty decisions to make their numbers go up. And when it's time to pay people more, they won't, because it helps their numbers go up. That is not how we... that's not how we think. That's not how we help a country recovering from a dictatorship and a 7-year embargo on oil. What we do is we start buying from them at the fair price that they want to sell it to us for, is how we help them. I've also been seeing the argument about how America has had a duty to take out dictators since we took out Hitler. Hitler was different. Hitler was actively terrorizing us and our allies and getting their allies to attack us. This was a... they had to make up the whole thing about narco-terrorism. There is still no official proof that has been released to the public other than our president's conjecture. However, there are private oil companies going to visit Venezuela right now to look at possible investments. So the picture should be plain as day, and if you can't see it, well, you're fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Okay, back to the time lapse. So I found this article that pisses me off a little bit, and it's a right-leaning article. Oh shit! I just jumped off my house. It's a right-leaning article. Um, Dick riding Marco Rubio. Is it Mark Rubio? Nah, let's just go with Rubio. Yeah, Marco Rubio. Uh, for quote unquote humiliating a journalist who asked a fair question about, hey, why did we only capture Maduro and his wife? The rest of his council is A, still in power, and B, also indicted quote unquote narco terrorists with bounties on their head. And the humiliating response that destroyed this journalist is that, are you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? Are you a baby? Are you a child? Basically, he was saying, like, yeah, the guy we took and shouldn't have took, yeah, that pissed off some people. Imagine how many people we would have pissed off if we took 2 people. Ooh. And it's, yeah, we are pissed off because this is not our problem. This is all fake. So it kind of is its own argument that you know that this is dumb and fake, and you think you want to try to spin it like we're stupid for seeing through that. I don't know, man. I just think Trump and his loyalists are just as evil as Maduro and his loyalists. And they should both not be in power, probably. And I'm like, I've been hearing also the argument that, hey, they are cheering for us. We took down their dictators. Like, I haven't seen any Venezuelans cheering yet. But also, it's not like there's a good and a bad side to everything. There's fish and then there's bigger fish. And Venezuela just got eaten by a bigger fish, a meaner dictator, a dumber person. It's very sad to see. It's the most frustrating part of this is seeing how many people can't understand that this is something that we have done before. We never actually fix these countries we quote unquote help. We just destroy them until we get all their oil for slave labor, and then we leave them be to hate themselves all over again. And when they start to like get smart once again and decide that, hey, we're probably the bad guys, we overthrow their country again, like we've done in Iraq like 4 times, because that's just how we do it, and we need to stop doing it. And just because we've done it before doesn't mean it's something we should keep doing. Which is another argument I've been seeing, is like, this is just how America operates. This is how we get our money. I mean, it's not how we should. I feel like sometimes I am in one of the dumbest eras to be alive in, because goddamn. Actually, it's manufactured. because they've been destroying public education funding for decades now, and they've been really leaning into it since the beginning of this regime back in last year, actually, because it is January 2026 now. And the anti-intellectualism is only going to get worse. People are going to get happy to be dumber. They're not going to trust that science has the answer. They're going to think that some bullshit wizard that uses smart words that they like is going to be more credible than a guy with all the studies backing up everything that's actually true. There's going to be more than a few bro science guys talking about this in the future, and it's going to be so insufferable. Also, since I like listening to some of the old folk music, and the one song, Hallelujah, I'm a Bum, has a lyric that goes, why don't you save all the money you earn? And then the bum answers, well, if I didn't eat, I'd have money to burn. And that is saying, like, the boomers don't know that they were very much the exception to the rule. The generations before them were slowly working for a country where it was possible to save your money and have things. And Hallelujah, I'm a Bum was written in 1892 or 1890. The 1890s, I think, officially published under a name by 1902. So the same arguments being used against the youth today who can't save up money for anything they want in life were the same arguments that built the revolutions that gave us the 40-hour work week and a livable wage and gave the boomers so much in a world that was perfect for them and no one else, built on a 90% tax rate for the rich elite, which even if we implemented that today, it would have to drastically scale up to $1 billion now, because now we let billionaires exist. Which is something that, cry me a river, they would not exist if we started taxing them properly, because the only reason they're able to grow that exponentially is because they find ways to get out of being fucking taxed. And it's one thing that it's just our country and we can move somewhere else, but the American business has spread to literally everyone else by now. Whenever Trump does something, whenever America does something, there's copycats in the politics of every other country. Australia and Britain both campaigned on "Make Australia Great Again," both "Make Britain Great Again," just to earn their votes for their election cycle. So every time America gets worse, we make the world worse. The country keeps blaming us, keeps blaming us citizens for shit our leaders do, even though that there's studies that show that, hey, voting doesn't actually change policy as much as money does. There's like the flat, I forget, I'd have to go dig up the charts. I'm not sure if I can, because this was like a video from getting close to 2 years ago now that never made it out. But there was a noticeable pattern that changes, an increase or decrease in votes on a policy had no effect on its likelihood to go through, but an increase or decrease on the spending around a policy did have an effect on how likely it was to go through. And yeah, there's I guess that means the best thing to do for you politically is to vote with your dollar. And I don't even mean that, like, don't give a company business who doesn't deserve it. I mean that as, like, go find a non-profit that kind of agrees with you and hopes they don't have ulterior motives. Because a lot of non-profits, finding out that they can just get funding for free, kind of just do that. They settle for free money and don't do a whole lot of anything they promised. boat. Needless to say, this is all summarizing to this country is fucked, it's a shithole, and we're only making ourselves worse by pretending it's not. Ooh, I think I'm gonna swap that out for stone. Let me see if I have any iron. I'll get a stone cutter. That might make this easier. Forget how to make a stone cutter. Yeah. Okay, let's get you. Let's throw you on top of that. Yep. Let's tear this all down because it's ugly and gross. Do we like this better? I say so. I think I might outline it some. But my recording's getting pretty long, so I'm gonna call this here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay a fan.